All right, so this is just an informal, uh, like this time around. I assume that this is not going to be the video that we end up sharing or anything, but I wanted to sort of be able to review it later. All right, Starport. Let's maybe go to their GitHub repository and show you kind of what it is. So. So here is Starport. Okay, easiest way to build a blockchain. It scaffolds a Cosmos SDK chain and a user interface for it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Blurt at all, which Blurt is it's basically a social media network implemented on a blockchain. And today we're going to build something really quite similar, but without the application logic that would control a reward pool. But we'll have the majority of other features. So we'll have a coin, we'll have logging capabilities. We won't have like an upvote, downvote thing. And we will have user logins. And it's quick. You'll be shocked. I was shocked. Still shocked. Ready? Now here we go. I use Goland when I'm working with any kind of Go code. Certainly recommend it. It makes things fast. So. Yeah, I think for the final video, I should not use maybe the Goland editor. Maybe use Alacrity when you focus on the terminal. Hello! I have to let you in. Kind new entrant. Hello! Hi! How are you, sir?
Okay. He's also my friend. He has been working on Python. He know how to build Flask application in Django. He used Flask and Django for backend, and he's also a JavaScript developer. I asked him to join too. Maybe he found my message late, so he has joined late. But that's okay, I guess.
Oh yeah, and as many people who would like to come can come. So what we've done so far is actually just compiled Starport, and to our new entrant, I'll just kind of catch you up. Good sir, Starport is it's the easiest way to build a blockchain, and it's focused on building visual, graphical blockchain applications. The majority of blockchains do not include like a significant front end. Blurt, Steam, Hive, they're sort of in the minority, right? Because you get a rich user interface, and they're very easy to use. But Starport is actually targeted at building applications that have rich web interfaces, and so we just compiled it. And I've been working on one called Clay. The interesting thing is, we're going to do is we're actually going to build Clay right now. I think you'll be kind of surprised, like just how small Clay is. Actually, most of Clay's features they lie in the network stack and not in the blockchain. So here, maybe I'll show you the menu real quick. Here. So you have app, build, help, module, serve, type, and version. Okay, and we're going to start by using Starport app. Okay, and what that's going to do is scaffold one entire blockchain and UI for us immediately. It's pretty neat. Okay, there we go.
Mm.
So let's run it, right? Um, Okay, so I put it into verbose mode, which basically just means it's going to show us all of the text output. Everything that the chain is doing. Starport is currently building Clay. Okay, it compiles Clay after grabbing Clay's various dependencies, and it's going to compile the app as well.
Okay, it's much like React app, like we used to build React app.
Yeah, actually, so Starport was designed by web designers, people whose background is in web application design, and so yeah, the usage flow is far more like a web app than well, if you were to go and download the Cosmos SDK, what you would find is that to add a module to it. Here we go. Blockchain. Block plus chain. Yeah. Okay. So we just produced the Genesis block. We now have a running blockchain application. And interestingly, the blockchain application has really very good looking user interface. I don't know if any of you has ever used Vue.js, but Starport is built. Well, the front end components are built in Vue. So we just have to find the. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I'm not mistaken. So. Yep, here we go. Okay, so what we have is an app even with a login. And right now all we have is a wallet, right? So what have we built so far? We built a very basic blockchain that has a token that can scale to hundreds of nodes, and can be deployed globally. Speaking of deployment, so one of the features, it's actually like what I guess my contribution to Starport is that Starport allows the user to ship Raspberry Pi device images with ease. I'll show you how easy. We're in the Clay folder, okay, and all we've got to do is push it to GitHub, and we will be able to build about a 500 megabyte file that you can flash onto an SD card and use to program a Raspberry Pi so it'll connect to the rest of the Clay network. This is a way of kind of using hardware to avoid the difficulty of configuring blockchain software. I don't know if any of you has run a blockchain node before. It often gets a bit time consuming, right? Well, here. Git. So 0.0.0 revision 6 with no blog. You'll see why it's got that no blog tag in just a moment here. And what we can do is okay. Now, if we go to the clay repository, go in here to the GitHub Actions. Has any of you used GitHub Actions before? Wait, do you know GitHub Actions at all, or no? Okay, so it's a continuous integration feature. It allows that's no good. So after
Like Jenkins.
yes, absolutely like Jenkins. Yes, totally. There we go. And play Pi. So you can see here it's the go get and then the subsequent compile. And this just this step here with uploads the CLI binary in case you want to audit the image, right? Because we're packaging everything into like an operating system image right now, and you might want to audit that, right? You might want to be able to check it. So all right, now it's downloading the Ubuntu 2004 server OS, and now it's decompressing that, mounting it to the file system using a tool called Packer. All right, anybody used Packer before?
No, I haven't used it.
Okay, so Packer, you can use it to make like virtual machine images, or in this case, images for devices. And I suppose it's fair to say that my research focus, or even entrepreneurial focus with blockchains these days, is to get them onto tiny little computers so that they can be scattered all around the world and enjoy a higher replication value. The more nodes a chain has, the healthier it is.
These are not deployed in containers.
What was that?
Containers.
So containers. Yeah, you can. I deploy Blurt RPC nodes in containers, and you can also deploy Cosmos SDK blockchain nodes in containers. In this case, though, you want to think of the Raspberry Pi as the container. right? So like what we're doing is we're creating an operating system whose purpose is to facilitate running the blockchain. So currently it's just grabbing package updates, but in a moment you'll see it installs a few virtual network tools and then copies the Clay blockchain onto the device image. Anybody have any questions about like what we've done so far or anything?
If anyone wants to ask any question, they can go ahead. Even you can write in the message if you are not comfortable opening your mic.
It's this framework is built in Go.
I can't really hear you. Oh, did you say something about Golang?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what we generated is Go. So if we were to compare this to web development, right, you can think of it as a Go backend. The chain is written in Go, and then a JavaScript front end that's written in Vue.js.
Okay. I know little bit Flutter. I can build front end in Flutter.
It's a little difficult to hear you. Could you possibly speak louder?
Hello.
Much better. Much better. Yes.
I know a little bit of Flutter, so I can build a UI based on Flutter.
That's pretty cool. That's very cool. Actually, for mobile apps for Blurt, that's the direction that we would like to take. And my son says hello.
Hello,
Yeah,
how are you?
He's covered in spaghetti sauce. He just had lunch. So. So now what it's doing is just compressing the device image. Would you guys like to see it connect to a network? If you want, like I can flash it. Oh, excuse me. I can flash Clay onto a SD card, and you can see it sing if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely then. And let me open up Etcher. The program you'll use to flash it, right? It's called Etcher. And we're going to flash an earlier version, and I don't know if anything has changed, and there's only one node in the world, actually, running Clay at the moment. And we're going to connect to that node. It is in Portugal, actually. Interestingly, this node is in someone's house. It's not in the cloud or anything. And the way that we accomplish this is through the use of a virtual network. It allows all nodes to be local to each other. When I say local, I mean like 192.168 or 10 dot whatever, or What was one of the other 172 dot whatever? Yeah. Do you guys know what I mean when I say local?
Yeah, private network.
Yeah. But it'll be it's a virtual private network, right? So like, even though his node is in Portugal, I'll be able to access it from here. Actually, I'm just thinking, if you guys don't mind, I'll probably put this video on YouTube, just because we're walking through. You're looking at 9 months of work, guys. Actually, that's the fact of the matter. Of course, like all interesting work, it did not move in a straight line, right? Sort of began with hardware development, hit say a lack of clarity with that. Sort of began researching RISC-V semiconductors. Do you guys know RISC-V at all? Or do you perhaps... Oh, you do know it. Oh, okay. Do you happen to know the Shakti project?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a RISC-V project based...
Version. Yeah. I remember.
So they're based out of IIT Madras, and I made more or less a CI system for them. And when you compile these cores, one of the things that you have to do is deal with compiling the RISC-V GNU toolchain, and it takes hours. I kind of made a setup that helps to avoid that. So all right, we have Etcher, and we have the zip file. So we go in here. There. I thought so. So all it is, it ends up double compressed. GitHub puts everything in a zip file. So we can just do like we'll get this image.exe file. All right. Extracted to not that folder. Extracted to like there it is. Okay. So we're gonna flash it onto a 64 gigabyte SD card. Yep.
So where is Blur deployed?
Where is Blurt deployed?
Yeah.
Well, globally, actually. Blurt runs on About my estimate, we don't actually know how many nodes there are, but we can make pretty good rough estimates. About 75 nodes. Africa, Asia, North America, a lot in Europe, and yeah. So the Flirt infrastructure is all over the place, and I run the front end at a hosting provider called Hetzner.
Okay.
And actually, like this Raspberry Pi setup, right? The idea here is to get the chain out of the cloud so that the chain is safe. Have you ever heard the expression like? Have you ever heard the expression? It's not the cloud; it's somebody else's computer. I believe that's the expression I'm looking for, and it's true, right? You don't really enjoy sovereignty in the cloud, but running a blockchain is actually not very computationally intensive, and so you know you can run it on a tiny little computer like a Raspberry Pi. Also, the Raspberry Pi is for $50 US. It's quite cheap, really. It's very powerful.
How to secure our network
What is that?
security, network security?
What about network security?
Yeah.
Are you asking about like blockchain network security or?
Like DNetting rules and
As relates to the cloud, maybe, or
And maybe he's asking about like if someone is using Raspberry Pi and like giving his network to the chain, then what's the security? I think he's asking that.
yeah.
Okay. So, security from what? What's the threat? That's my question back to you, because there are a number of security implications, right? So, for one thing, when you're running this and you've got the virtual network, like just shunted right into your house, right? If somebody were to penetrate it, I suppose that they could attempt to access other devices in your home. I'm pretty comfortable with the level of security in this setup, but it's a real risk. And then in addition to that, and in fact, this is kind of the big test. This is why I've been working quite hard to kind of get Clay right out the door. The question is this. So say you have a global, flat, private network, and all nodes talk to each other in a fully connected graph. You guys know what a fully connected graph is?
No.
Okay, so it's all to all. So if all the nodes are arranged in a circle, right, every node would connect to every other node. And that's not normal. Normal, at least in the Cosmos world, for those of you familiar with Blurt is effectively a fully connected graph. Different, I guess, like different security model, although I've actually thought about applying the Cosmos security model to Blurt. So the way that it works in Cosmos typically is this. Validators, that means nodes with keys that sign blocks. Validators do not talk to each other, and they only talk to the public network through what are called sentries. Basically, full nodes that do not have keys, and and
So
those.
are
Mhm.
you trying to say that the keys the keys for logging into Blurt and like for making transaction are they not connected in the blockchain with each other on every node?
Oh no! So these are actually different keys that I'm talking about. Both in Blurt and in like the Cosmos ecosystem, right? The key that signs the block, it can be the same key that you use for storing funds, but usually it is not. Um, so, like a Blurt witness, for example, during witness setup, is very likely to create a second key pair that corresponds just to the action of signing blocks. And that is typically the case in Cosmos as well. And in Cosmos, what you'll do, right, you'll delegate to that block signing key. So it's not that wallet is not, as we say, hot. It does not hold funds. So it's a second separate set of keys. But what I was talking about before is the difference between a full node and a validator in Cosmos. And basically, the difference is that validators are attempting to participate in consensus and sign blocks, whereas full nodes are, effectively they are additional replication and additional stability for the peer-to-peer network layer. So I have now finished flashing this, and I'm going to go to my Raspberry Pi, and I'm going to stick this thing in there, and we should actually be able to connect to Helder's Raspberry Pi, which is pretty cool because it's on the other side of the planet. Yeah, so excuse me, I'm putting my computer down so I can play with the Pi here real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm taking out the original SD card, putting in the new SD card. There we go. So it's booting. One of the things I love about this, right, is that the response is almost immediate. You plug the power cable in, and it begins to operate. So the next step is to SSH into it. And if you guys have Raspberry Pis, and I certainly hope that you all pick up a Raspberry Pi, because Clay, basically, like, we're trying to test it with as many nodes as possible before we do any sort of like a mainnet launch, right? At this stage, we're learning if this network configuration can be as stable as we'd like. So I have to find my phone. I use an app called Fing, Fing, to get the IP address of my Raspberry Pi. There are other ways to do it. You can use ARP. You can many ways, really, but Fing is very easy. let's see. So you scan for devices. Oh, you connect the phone to Wi-Fi first. There we go. .3 or .4. Okay. So. I'll increase the size of the font here so you guys can see.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's 3 or 4. Let's see. It'll tell us, nope, this is the wrong one. It's been up for a while, so it's not the correct device. There it is. The default password will be Ubuntu. All right.
Okay.
So it's going to ask you to change it right away. All right, and we're in. So here we go. That is this is the device image that we just built, and in it lives Clay. Okay, and Packer cannot do apt upgrade because it runs in a CH root. But I think we're not going to do that either because it could take some time since we're on a Raspberry Pi. Let's just get this thing fired up. Guys, I have to get a little information, and that means I've got to stop my screen share for a moment. Yeah, I gotta dig into one of those files, right? One moment here.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Mm. Mm. Okay, so you can see I the hash here is a node ID, and what is this allowing us to do? It is allowing us to download the Genesis file and connect to Helder's node. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. How rude of me. Get this back up. There we go. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to straight plain. First we're going to join the network. So I was telling you guys about the virtual networks, and this one here is Clay. Okay, and yeah, sudo on here. There we go. Join. Okay, so we got that unable to resolve host Ubuntu because I have to tweak the etc host D, I think, where DNS is configured. Right, now that we've done that, though, we're on the Clay network. That's the virtual network for Clay. And we can now get the Genesis file from Helder's node. Okay, remember, guys, it's in Portugal. So, but it'll be like it's in the next room. There we go. We can. There's the Genesis file, and it contains the original state of the chain. It seems that Helder has chosen to grant himself a lot of nines of Clay. Normally, when launching a new blockchain, you distribute tokens in various ways. This is just a test net, and so just one node has all the coins. But if we were launching a main net, what we would want to do is make sure that the launch was decentralized and that stake weight was distributed between the nodes, because on a Cosmos network, what the thing that the chain needs to keep running is 66% of delegated stake online at any given time. If the chain falls below that, it will stop operating. So, we're going to copy the Genesis file. And all right, now we're good to go. The next step is to actually connect to the node. So it's Clay D, the daemon, right? Clay D, Clay D start. Peer-to-peer. Persistent. What does it do? Help. Forget the exact. There we go. There. Okay, and now we're gonna. This is the node ID, right? So think of it as a public key, basically. By using it, we know that it's actually Helder's node. And we can just like this, that's an @ okay, and then we grab his IP address, which is right here. Okay. Now, if I've copied everything in the right place, this is going to fire up. So some of the remaining work that needs to be done with Playwright is automating all of this. I see.
You can use Ansible for that.
So what I'll do, and it's similar to Ansible. It's all gonna happen in Packer, except for operations that involve keys. If an operation involves a key, then the user has to do it themselves, of course. Now, should we really? Huh, crazy. So where did I put the... Okay, well, we'll just download it directly to the folder this time. Then it won't get lost. All right. So, maybe now, I believe now, let us see. Can't add non-routable address. Oh. There is one other thing that we need to do. Now, this needs to be set in the config file. So that address is in a private range, and Tendermint filters those from the address book. The address book is basically like the list of known nodes, if you will. And yeah, no, it's not a flag. Thought it was not a flag. And this is mostly for configuring Tendermint in a Cosmos blockchain. The Cosmos XDK is the application framework that you use to interact with consensus. Here it is, okay? Address book strict. Okay, let's change that guy to false. And what we're telling it is basically you can route to private IP addresses. And now, maybe. Oh, the suspense. What usually happens here, we have this suspenseful pause, just like there it is, and then that happens. All right. So what we did, we imported the Genesis file from Helder's Raspberry Pi, and we started a blockchain on Raspberry Pi devices on the other side of the world. And, like, chain's actually been going for about 3 days now. And he's all the way in Portugal, and my Raspberry Pi is in my home. I'm at my home right now. His Raspberry Pi is in his home. And this, see this red text? This is exactly, actually, this is precisely what we're testing for. This is very interesting. Interesting. So, guys, this is why we're doing the test net, actually. Interesting. I think the last piece, although I don't know how functional it's going to be, because we're having this this network issue, which I will have to. Maybe you know what I'll do. I'll hop out, and guys, so like you can. Wait, okay, and now we're gonna get all the logs. And I'm gonna just fill the screen with all kinds of crazy things for a minute here. If my screen can even keep up, because it does that. That's a real thing. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah, we're not keeping up. Oh, there we go. Okay. So when you're in debug mode, it gives you truly a lot of output, and of course, guess what? This time it's working, and that's actually why. If we're stuck, then well, we would be able to debug. But let's throw the UI up as well. And 1.3. Oop. Don't want to be root at this time. Okay. Now that we are on the Pi, there should be, but there's not. Interesting. Yeah, okay, here we are. And hopefully if I do like, that'll work. But we don't know. Uh-oh. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's weird as well. Install. Uh-oh. They're probably on the path for root only. So let's. Really? Huh. That's funny. I test it in the CI suite, actually. Well, all right. I suppose that. Grab NVM. I will grab NVM. If you ever need to install Node.js, use NVM. It'll work. The other stuff might not. Okay, here we go. Ready? Okay, we're good to go. And this is good. Well, it's not good because it's an error, but quite interesting. Well, this error is a good example of why you want to have hundreds of nodes, because this design kind of changes the reliability assumptions a little bit. It assumes less reliability on any individual node and makes up for that by attempting to have more nodes overall.
So that's why there are so many witnesses for bloat as well, so that there can be so many nodes running at the same time.
Exactly, yeah, and then the network is always available, right? Oh, and look at that, node permission denied. Why would that happen? But yes, yeah, that's exactly it. So, like, all right, I figure maybe we'll close up around here. But if you want, I'll walk you guys through like a recent writing of mine and sort of the way that I approach blockchain development, which is to sort of view the chain as a life form with a heartbeat. That's the production of blocks. You know, its job, right, is to serve its user community. In turn, the blockchain's user community runs its infrastructure. So the chain is, you know, it's a place for the community to build, and the cheaper it is to run a node, and the easier that it is to run a node, the more nodes there will be. And when there are more nodes, the chain is harder to kill. Early on in Blurt, I had a very real concern that, like, you know, if Jacob gets hit by a bus tomorrow, right? Maybe there's not going to be a Blurt anymore because I'm running so many of the front end servers. Certainly, the chain itself is, you know, super decentralized. But that's sort of what drove my recent move to like decentralize the operation of the front ends, so that there are as many of them as possible on the front, and then the back end piece with a blockchain is just the node itself. I'll also send you guys a link to this because this is like it's kind of the way that I'm approaching all blockchain development work. So like I'm looking at it as a life form, as something that's alive, and then I'm asking myself, how do I make this life form stronger? How do I ensure that it can survive without the people who first built it? Whether that's me or somebody else, right? I've also done a little bit of consulting work that involves, repairing chains and like so the question is, how do we strengthen the life form? How do we make it healthier? There's a number of ways of measuring it too. Like if your blockchain, if it has a traded token, because you don't need to have a token or a coin to have a blockchain, right? But I'd say that the majority do have one, and that creates like another feedback loop in terms of the health of the chain, because the exchangeability of that token is how the chain it pays for its own operation, literally. Like so, a blockchain pays humans to operate it. They do take really genuinely a lot of time, and that's one of the that's another thing that trying to address with the clay design, where the chain launches on a small, cheap, reliable embedded computer, so that there can be lots and lots and lots of nodes. Once there are lots and lots and lots of nodes, and once the currency is exchangeable, that chain can survive. It's very strong. It's very robust. And once again, I genuinely believe that like it's they're alive in a way, right? They're not alive like us, but they're something. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and seeing me. Oh, excuse me.
Okay. I would like to add there. Like you told that there will be so many nodes, and by that the chain will live longer, right? If there are, and yes, I have studied that if let's suppose if we have only 3 nodes on a blood blockchain, then any person can create a chain that is longer in length than the original chain, and it can easily hack the chain. Is that possible?
Well, all right. Proof of stake works a little bit differently. It's like of those 3 nodes, who has the right to sign blocks, and is there enough accumulated delegated stake on their node for that for the next block to be valid if they sign it. But maybe to address your point, I mean the answer is sort of that the more nodes a blockchain has, whether that's proof of work or proof of stake, the healthier it is, because its state, the history, is more distributed, and synchronizing with that chain is easier. In the case that we saw today with clay, basically, if there were 100 clay nodes in the world, it wouldn't matter if my node was only intermittently connecting to Helder's node. But because there's, he's running like the only validator in the world, if you can't connect to it, you can't successfully sync. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, you quite got me. Actually, if you have heard about that chain is valid method that is used to validate a chain in a blockchain, right? So I guess for proof of work they use the longest chain method, right?
Yeah, well, it's what do they call it? Most accumulated work, I think. And
Yeah, as Blurt use proof of work and proof of stake both. But in proof of work, we use longest chain rule, where we see if the chain that is trying to connect to the network is the longest chain present, and if someone creates a node that is longest than the original node, then he can maybe enter the enter the blockchain easily.
what you would need in that case, you would need to have the existing state, okay, and you would also need stake.
Mm-hmm.
So you would need to have coins, right? You'd need to buy in. There's an economic component to proof of stake blockchain security. And because the attacker would need to buy in, they would actually need to buy in quite a lot. They'd need to, obtain a fairly significant portion of supply to become a validator on a chain that only has, to become a validator. So with Cosmos, it is stake weighted, right? The more stake that's on your validator, the more your validator's signature matters toward determining the validity of the block. So just for example, you saw in the genesis.json file that Helder, he maxed out that field with 9s, right? What that means is that effectively he's the only one controlling the network at the moment. In proof of work, you have the whole 51% attack concern, which for a long time wasn't a very big concern, and then out came various services for renting hash rate, and now it's, I wouldn't say super common, but proof of work blockchains are frequently being attacked when they don't have enough economic weight to have a large enough hash rate to avoid being attacked by a service like NiceHash. Is there anything else, guys? I'm happy to answer any other questions about Clay or about Starport or about Tendermint or Golang. Don't ask me much about Vue.js because I'm just learning it myself. But yeah.
Is there any documentation on Cosmos?
There's a lot, and I can link you to it. Maybe it would be a good idea if you could maybe join the Blurt India Discord, and I'll put in the Blurt India Discord a link to the Cosmos Discord, and I'm going to put here a link to the Cosmos SDK documentation. But what you should also know is that the best starting point is Starport. You'd want to start there.
And there is a person Zahid who is a witness that who is running Hello Blood. I think he has also quite a lot of experience blockchain development, and I have heard about him that he is really famous among the different exchanges, and he has helped Blood as well for he has helped for making Blood listed on few networks. I heard about it. Is that right? Is that right?
I'm sorry, you'll have to repeat yourself?
Do you know Zahid? He's a witness on Blur.
Yes,
He's
yes,
running along.
yes, I do. Yep.
Yeah, so I talked to him recently, like maybe 10 days back, and he told me that actually Imran Saudagar told me that he's quite famous among the different platforms he's being witness and in dev teams for different blockchains, like in Steam as well, Steam it as well, and he has helped quite a lot for Blurt as well.
Yeah, I would say that he is very well regarded and doing awesome witness stuff for sure.
Hmm. He told me like few days back I was talking to him and he told me that for being a witness on Blood you must have a Debian, and I told him that I'm using Ubuntu. So he told me that you need a quite fast internet connectivity, and it is quite difficult to run the witness node on Ubuntu. So it's better to have a Debian operating system.
Yeah, he's right. It has to do with how we compile it. You can run it in Docker though, if you'd like. And then Docker will eliminate that particular compatibility pain point. Are you on a where are you running Blurt on Ubuntu? At your home or in the cloud?
No. I'm not actually running it. I was asking him about if I can run a witness node. Then he was then telling me that it's not quite easy to run a witness node on Ubuntu. It's like quite a headache thing. So if I have a Debian operating system, it's a lot easier there.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. Right now we're kind of there's just what's that?
He can help me with that. I will talk to him. Yes, he's also quite busy, I guess. So he don't converse much. But yes, I will talk to him about it, and I will see what he says.
Great.
And is he also helping in the development team as well?
No, not currently. But we're open to anyone participating. And actually, like guys, that's one of the coolest things about the blockchain ecosystem. I would say is that so I'm old, right? I'm 36, and for the longest time, open source projects did not have money. They did lots of valuable stuff, right? But were generally impoverished. And working on blockchain applications, I think it's an excellent way to contribute to various open source projects. Whether that's Starport itself, or you build a chain with Starport, or you hack on a Blurt front end, or whatever, right? There's Ethereum, there's Bitcoin, there's Tezos, there's a whole world out there, and I think that the really cool thing is these are open source projects that
so that anyone can contribute to it.
Well, yeah, anybody can contribute to them, and their communities are generally funded, which makes a big deal for you as a developer because you end up earning from it, right? And most blockchain ecosystems have some kind of a mechanism for a developer to make like a work proposal of some sort and get it approved, sometimes by a foundation, sometimes by a company. And I'm generalizing here, right? So I'm definitely not just talking about Cosmos. I'm not just talking about Blurt. I'm talking about Ethereum, Tezos, Cosmos, Polkadot, Blurt, and actually many others. And so, like, if distributed systems work is interesting to you, or work in these, I wouldn't really say that in the blockchain space we're creating new types of finance, but we are creating, I believe, new financial instruments that have global reach, or like maybe redesigning old financial instruments and then making them global, right? Because the chain can be accessed from anywhere, so it's kind of a whole new world. And that's the really neat part is that guys, like, yeah, you can. It can be a career. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you are absolutely right about that. Actually, Blurt is also growing at a far most fast rate. I see that audience has grown quite a lot. I see many people are joining from India and especially from Bangladesh. I see a bunch of uh, sometimes I think are they bots or what? So many people from Bangladesh. I see.
Yeah, it's quite humbling actually. I've never made a product with so many users before. It's
Mm.
I'm stoked about that.
Maybe the chain will grow quite more in few months, maybe 2 or 3 months. The chain will uh, be loaded with so much users, and let's see what happens in future. Future holds a lot for Blood, I guess.
I think so. I think so. And you know, and so I'll make a point on on these proof of stake app chains, right? So there's a scalability limit, but nobody really knows it. Uh,
Mm,
if you do if you do synthetic testing, you'll end up with something quite
mm,
high. Like you could probably hit 10,000 transactions per second, which
mm,
translates to supporting many users, right? But there's a very important but. The real world is not a synthetic network. The real world has latency. The real world has network interruptions. The real world has all kinds of things that will keep the chain from performing optimally. So nobody exactly knows where that scalability limit is. And I think that is where tools like Starport kind of come into play, and also chains like Clay, because my assumption is that, well, number one, I totally agree. I think Flirt is going to do awesome. Okay, the user
mm,
growth is stellar, and I'm very excited about that. And then number two, though, is there are so many other applications beyond blogging that um, could benefit from having a decentralized, community operated back end, the same way that Blurt does with blogs, right? Like somebody recently mentioned to me, well, why not a decentralized decentralized stumble upon? And I thought, well, why not a
mm,
decentralized stack exchange with money where they pay you for answering questions, and or the chain pays you algorithmically for answering questions, I suppose. And I think there's going to be hundreds of
mm.
really competitive chains. And Starport is like, yeah, that's the tool to build them for sure.
Yes, so this tool will help in future as well when the user will increase. Definitely.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's not even so. In fact, Flirt and Starport are not related in terms of their software DNA. Flirt is built on graphene. Okay, graphene product by Dan Larimer and Company, let's say, and um, it is a blockchain framework. I say that, but there's no abstraction. Okay, so if you're using graphene, like there, you have to change everything for every chain. But if you're using Cosmos SDK, um,
Mm,
for example, you can create your own Gaia hub. Gaia is the name of the hub that runs the Cosmos Atom token. You can do that in a day, and be up and running and have a public network and everything. And the reason for that, the reason you can do that in a day, it's relatively simple, is that everything is neatly abstracted. So that if you want to create a new blockchain with a new purpose, new functionality, It's very easy to do. Oh, while you guys are here, and maybe I'll just show like one other Starport feature, right? Um, which is creating types. So you guys know I'll have to go in about 15 minutes, but I do have another 15 minutes. And feel free to direct me, right? Anything you want to know about, anything you want to see, just let me know. But for now, I'll show you types. So, see how it says no blog there? No, we don't even need to commit that. We don't need to commit the module files. Oh, guys, sometimes it's done. There. Alright. And good. So suppose that we wanted to have a clay with a blog, right? And they actually have very similar functionality to Blurt or Steam, but without the economic logic, right? So it's really pretty easy. And guys, who here has done a good deal of web development?
Web development?
Yeah, web development.
Yeah, I have done that a little bit.
Okay, so I think that this next step is going to be really familiar to you. What we're going to do so the command is starport type, okay? And what type? It's type post, okay? And what fields does type have? It has title and body, okay? So this is a blog post. It has the field for the title, the field for the body, and nothing else. A very basic blog post. Now, we go into Starport. Okay, so we can actually see it. What it did, it refreshed itself. Starport, if you run it in the background, it'll automatically rebuild when files change, so that you don't need to play with it, which is very nice. It was a long-standing pain point for developers using the Cosmos SDK. So we take that seed there, go into a browser. There we go. And see? So a couple of things happened. One, we added the type, and two, when we added the type, it automatically scaffolded for us a front-end component that, meets our needs. So let's make a blog post. There we go. There. So that's been committed to the chain. If this were a live blockchain, just like all the content on Blurt, it would remain there forever. Yeah. Any other questions?
No.
No? Okay.
One last thing. This post, it will remain here for. You told something. I didn't get you. This post will remain here, like hello world. Hi, this is a simple blog. Will live here for how much time?
Well, this blockchain only exists on my laptop. So it.
On the local host.
Yeah, correct. It's not connected to any other nodes.
Maybe even refreshing this page will eliminate this post, right?
That's right. Yep. If I delete my hard drive, the post is gone forever. But if I connected it to other nodes, and the chain had an economy, right? I think that the economy is very important because otherwise, think about it like this, right? We need food, and we pay the farmers, the grocery store, the restaurant, whatever, for our food, right? And that is how we as humans, we get food in the economy. The blockchain, it needs servers and human time, okay?
To live.
And once it has an economy, it can buy those from people. So, in my view of things, there is a school of thought in the blockchain world that that a blockchain is useful without some kind of a monetary asset, and I've just never seen it. Okay, like the private non-monetary stuff that I have done. Basically, as far as I know, it's sitting, right? Like, built it. It's built. It's been built. I shipped it a couple of years ago, actually. But, like, nobody is using it. Why is nobody using it? Nobody's using it because there's no value in the system. And also, it doesn't have the viral growth mechanism that that paying validators or paying witnesses provides. Like the fact that Blurt gives Blurt tokens to witnesses for their services, basically. You can look at it, I guess, mostly as a purchase of service, right? From the human who is operating the node by the chain. So it's the chain itself buying it from the operator. If that makes sense. And just like other things that are alive, if the chain does not eat the things that it needs to eat, it will die. The number of nodes will decline, and it will not be, let's say, highly available, which is really probably the goal of a high availability is, I think, a goal of distributed systems. And when they don't achieve that, they fail, and certainly the blockchain economy helps with that. So, all right. Any other questions, guys? And by the way, did you find this interesting, helpful? Did you learn stuff?
Yeah, it was helpful.
Yeah, it was? Okay.
Yeah.
If I were to do this again, would you join again?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Then I'll probably try and do it like once a week, let's say. And feel free to invite as many people as you like. And maybe next time, we ended up, today's was really about Starport, but we talked about Blurt a great deal. maybe next week we can sort of do a deep dive into like what is Blurt, how is it different from a Cosmos chain, how is it different from Bitcoin, what are its strengths and weaknesses, because one of the things that you'll likely find if you get into blockchain engineering at all, every decision involves a set of trade-offs, right? It's not like I can't go out and say, oh, XYZ is the world's best, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Well, I can tell you that, honestly, my favorite is Cosmos because of the sovereignty aspect.
Also because they are offering this Starport thing.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You quite
Starport
is.
is.
Like it a lot.
Yeah, I do. Well, I'm one of the contributors to Starport as well, and the hardware design work that I was talking about is via like that group, Tendermint Inc. And their Tendermint Inc. is I believe they're the company that was contracted to develop the Gaia Hub. Yeah. And of course, the origin point for Tendermint consensus.
Okay then.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, have a nice day, guys.
Yes, and I haven't made a tutorial today, so I will definitely gonna do that as one of the fellow mates from Blurt asked me to post tutorials regularly as he wanted to learn JavaScript. So yes, now I have like pressure on me to make a tutorial daily. So yes, I will make one after some time, maybe after half an hour or so.
Okay. That's cool. I look forward to your tutorial. I'm still learning JavaScript myself. So have a wonderful day, guys.
Okay. Have a wonderful day, you as well.
All right.
Thanks, Jacob, for joining with us, for making us joining with you actually. And it was really quite a good meeting.
Thanks for coming. It really would not have been the same if I had just been, talking. I didn't want to produce this in a one-way fashion, right? Like, so it's just me. As sort of awkward, I think. So I very much thank you all for joining, and we'll do it again soon. Let's shoot for next Monday, right?
Yeah, sure.
Great, cool.
And yes, we will meet at the Saturday show. If you will join there, we might talk there as well about something different related to, because you might have remember you joined the meeting on Saturday night with Imran Saudagar, and many people, they were quite blank because they were not developers. So they told me that they are out of interest. Then I said, okay, maybe because of me, there were so many technical terms discussed, and it was like going above their head. So I told them we will be talking normally and not so much technical thing there for next time.
Yeah, sure. That's great. See you Saturday then.
Okay.
Alrighty. Catch you later.
Okay, have a nice day.
Yeah, you too, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.